back to my channel, and if you're new here, hi, thank you so much for joining us today. For today's video, we are going to be doing 4 DIY projects for your Christmas tree, 3 of which are Christmas ornaments and painting them in different ways. And then for the 4th project, we're going to be changing picks from one color to another to give it a frosted blueberry look. And so without further ado, let's get into the first DIY. So for our first 2 DIYs, we're going to be using these ceramic clay ornaments that you can pick up at Hobby Lobby. I will make sure to link them down in the description below. And we are going to be painting a base color on these ornaments. Now, I was able to use just simple craft acrylic paint and only had to do 1 coat on them for them to be truly opaque. So this worked out perfect. Once that first layer dried, we are going to go in with a dark hunter green that has a little bit of a blue undertone to create a vine going around the circumference of the ornament. And you can see here that sometimes you just have to go over it twice, and it's okay if some spots are thick and some spots are thin. And then mixing the light green and the dark green together to get like this mid-tone dark green, I'm going in with a tiny little paintbrush and painting some leaves attached to that vine. I also, with the dark green, went in and added some extra vines coming off of the main one that goes around the whole ornament, kind of like little branches offshoot, and of course I added leaves to those as well. Next, using the handle end of the paintbrush, we are going to dip into white paint or any color paint. I'm just making white flowers, so you can choose any color you would want for your flower petals. And we are going to make little dots in a grouping of 4, kind of in a square quad shape, and I'm putting them on the ends of the little branches of vines as well as on the main vine themselves. And then I even put a couple just kind of like floating in the air as if the flower has come off the vine. And I'm spacing these out all over the entire ornament. You can always do more or less depending on what kind of vibe you're going for. And it's okay if the individual dots aren't touching each other, because once you go to put the center of the flower on, it really helps to pull it all together, and the spacing actually makes it look like separated flower petals. For the center of my flowers, I wanted to give these ornaments a little bit of a sparkle or shine, so I decided to use a Mod Podge glue as well as some glitter that I had on hand to create, again, the dots in the center using the same technique I did with the white paint and using the handle, and then brushing the glitter on. Then once you set those off to the side to dry, this is your completed painted ornament. For the second ornament, you are also going to start with that blue base. I'm doing blue. I'm specifically using blue for this one because we are going to be painting a winter landscape. And then once that blue base dries, I'm going in with a darker blue and a white and blending those 2 colors together to create this like winter, snowy, cloudy sky effect. On the bottom portion of the ornament, I am going in with white and making it a little bit more solid, but still letting some of that blue come through. And I'm also not doing a real crisp line on the top. I'm making it kind of wavy to give it the effects of a snowbank or snowy hills. Now for the trees, I'm using those same greens that we used before, that like bluish hunter green. And we are going to make little pine trees. I like to start at the top because that figures out my placement for where the tree is going to go. Now one thing you could do is start at the top, draw a line down, and then that also gives you like the straight line to go from the top to where the tree will end hitting the snow. Kind of do it all sorts of different ways. I do this method here where I'm just going back and forth, creating my brush strokes, and as I go down towards the base of the tree, I make my brush strokes a little bit longer and wider, and that gives it the effect of the tree getting bigger. And then you can do as many trees as you would like. I did some taller ones, some shorter ones. On other ornaments, I even overlapped a few of the trees to kind of create some depth to the landscape and also change up the colors. So for the smaller ones, I actually went in with a little bit lighter of a green to create like shadows and make the trees look, some look closer and others further away. Once you have the first color of the trees on, I went in with a slightly lighter shade than the first color. So for the dark green, I actually added a little bit of the light green to that shade to just brighten it up a tiny bit and go right over top of my previous brush strokes. This gives the pine, the trees themselves, some depth and makes them look a little bit more realistic. And it also adds some color variation, and it brings the two greens together. Once your trees are done and dried, you're going to take a little bit of white paint and water it down, and you're going to take your mixture on a slightly thicker brush and then flick it or tap it over top of your ornament, and that creates this snowfall effect all over your ornament. Once the paint was dried, I went over the entire ornament with a matte Mod Podge. It did give it a slight sheen, but I was mostly doing it for the effects of adding glitter to it. So if you don't want glitter or you don't want a slight sheen onto your ornament, then skip the step. But if you want a little bit of sparkle, I just took my glitter on a fluffy brush and kind of tapped it over top and sprinkled it onto the ornament, so then that way it was all over and not just concentrated in certain spots. For the last ornament, you can either take plastic or glass clear ornaments from the craft store. Pick out any of your favorite color or color that you want to introduce into your decor or match it to, and using regular craft acrylic paint, paint the entire ornament all over. I mixed my color again, creating this dusty blue that I was going for, and I mixed a lot of it because I did paint 12 ornaments to all match. And you have to work a little bit fast because you don't want this craft paint to dry. Once you have the ornament fully painted, then you're gonna go in and cover the entire amount of paint in baking soda. Once the ornament was completely covered with baking soda, I set it in a little pile of baking soda to dry. Once the ornament is completely dry, but then you just brush them off. I use a fluffy old makeup brush to brush all the baking soda off, and that I then push the baking soda off into a pile so I can actually put it on the next ornament. Now my tops were silver and I didn't want silver, so I took a little bit of Rub and Buff paint and coated the tops to create a more old world, rustic, antique vibe to these ornaments. And that is my completed ornaments. These can be called faux velvet ornaments or faux flocked ornaments. I've seen them labeled as both, but I think they turned out beautiful. For the last DIY, we are going to be changing these picks that I've had for about 5 years now, and I haven't actually used them for about 3 years. And we're going to be changing the berries on them from brown to blue. This was such a game changer in how I look at my Christmas decorations, taking something that I already have and revamping it to something new. So as you saw, I just simply painted the berries a different color, and then to give it that snowy effect to match the rest of the pick, picked up this powder flocked from Amazon. You can also get the spray snow. I've seen people do that as well. You can also use glitter instead of flock, or add more glitter to your flock if you want a more sparkly, glittery snow effect. And I covered the berries while it was still wet with the snow. And then once they dried, I just brushed or tapped the excess snow off, and it gave them this beautiful snowy blueberry effect. And it was the perfect way to reuse something that I already have, but give it new life. All right, guys, that is it for today's video. I hope you enjoyed, and if you did, please give the video some love and give it a big thumbs up. And if you haven't already, make sure you are subscribed to my channel and hit that bell notification so you get notified every single time that I upload. I think my ornaments turned out so cute, and I cannot wait to put them on my tree. You're getting a little sneak peek of one of them back here. Next up, we will be doing a decorate marathon, so if you have not decorated yet, subscribe, because my next video for tomorrow is going to be decorating like crazy. It's going to be a great motivational video to get any decorating that you plan on doing done. And so with that, that is it for today. I hope you guys have a great day, and I'll see you guys in another video tomorrow.